Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Diane Deziel and today I want to talk to you about grading. I will present you the basic of grading and also all the technique or method that you could use. First, what is grading? It's a process that allows you to do all the sizes that you need from a basic size while keeping the proportion of your pattern piece. And now, what is a basic size? It could be any size. It's simply the size that you did your first pattern in. The measure that we use in the grading process are standard measure. That means that the garment is going to grade the same amount at the bust level, the waist, and the hip. So all your sides seem parallel. As you know, it's not the reality when you gain a little bit of weight. You might gain it only at the waist or only at the hip, and in that case, it would be more a correction of your pattern that you need to do. Now about the measure that are used. It's a little like the pattern. The person who's doing it decide the measurement that they're going to be using. Same thing for the company, they decide the measurement that they're using. That's why when you go shopping from one store to the other, you don't always dress the same size. So basically, there's no rule to follow, but one thing that you see most of the time is that, let's say from a middle size, the smaller size are going to grade less than the bigger size. And the reason why is that there's an end to the smaller size, and I usually say to my student it's the bone, but towards the larger size there's almost no limit. Now visually the grading could also be a little bit different. Like this grading that I'm showing you, all my center front are aligned and my grading is done only on one side. Some other might do it all aligned at the waist. Some other might want to distribute the grading evenly on both sides. It shouldn't change anything because for all the grading the idea is the same, is to have on the side seam from one side to the other 1/4 of the total grading needed on the garment. The most important thing to remember when you want to do grading, you're grading the contour of your pattern piece. Whatever is inside should just be moving, should not enlarge the garment or reduce your garment. So let's say you have a princess line, for example. Whatever you would be adding to that first piece, you would have to remove it to the side piece. Before starting to grade your pattern, determine a fixed point for the horizontal grading and for the vertical grading. You're going to see easily that my center front is my fixed point for the horizontal movement. For the vertical movement, it might not be so obvious. You might think it's my neck point, and you would be right in that case, but the real fixed level for bodice is the shoulder blade area, so pretty much where I have my pencil. Now just look at all the points that are below my pencil, and you're going to understand right away that they're all moving towards the bottom. Now if you look on the other side of the pencil, you're going to see the opposite. All my points are going towards the top. Now the other thing you could see easily, it's where we have the biggest grading or the largest movement. It is the side seam, and in fact the side seam grading is the only one that you will need to grade a bodice, a skirt, or a pant. And again, the side seam grading is 1/4 of the total measurement that you need at bust, waist, or hip. The other measurement, there are a division of this one or fixed measurement. For example, if you look at the shoulder blade area, it's grading with half the measurement that we got for the side seam. Now the other thing you should notice is that the closer will go to the fixed line, smaller will be the measurement. So now let's talk about the dart or the princess line would move about 1/3 of what we have on the side seam, but very often it's a fixed measure of 0.3 per size. Now the last horizontal grading would be at the neck, and this one is closer to the fixed point also, so it's going to be 2 millimeter per size. Now about the vertical grading, they're all fixed measurement, and let's start with the shoulder that should be moving up and down 0.2 per size. The next point would be the bust level, underarm, pivot, that would move 0.3 per size. And finally, there's the waist that is moving 5 millimeter per size. The method that we use to grade. I'm showing you this first one that is called the slash and spread. I'm going to go a little fast over that one because I'm not using it. It's too much time. The little problem or complication with this one, beside the time consuming, is that depending on the style you have, where are you going to slash and how much are you going to spread, it's a little confusing. And as you know, there's no book that's going to show you every single style that you want to do. So now I will show you the second method that is called the grading by shifting. That's the method that I learned when I was a student, and that's the method I teach for many years. Here how it works. So first you retrace your pattern piece on another paper, and for each point you want to move, you trace a square line on your fixed line, so center front in that case. And on that line, you're going to place the measurement that you want with the direction that you want. So let's say I want to grade my underarm point for 1 size bigger. I would place my point 1 centimeter out and 3 millimeter down. Then I would take my pattern and indicate exactly the level of my 2 little lines. Then I would do the shifting, just like that. Then you indicate the point you just grade. If you have more sizes to do, for this point, you would do them all on the same line. So like I said, I use that method because that's the way I learned. But very fast, when I got my first grading contract, I realized that that was taking a lot of time. And looking at it, I say, okay, most of the points are single. Why do I have to put the measurement twice? On top of that, the way we're doing the shifting is not very accurate. So to improve this second technique, I came up with a third technique of my own. I have no idea if some other people are using it, but that's what I used to do for my contract, and that's how I teach for so many years. I call it grading by the point. So instead of placing your measurement right on the fixed line, I start by tracing my square line right on the point that I want to grade. Then I would also put the grading right on that line. So if I wanted to do a bigger size, out and down, that would be my final point. And when you get your point for all around the bodice, you just have to use your block again and retrace the line, just like I did for that smaller size that I traced in red. So already this was much more accurate and save a lot of time. But unfortunately, where I teach, they almost eliminate completely the grading lesson. So you could imagine that the student, one of their first question was, how am I going to do the garment my size? How can I enlarge? How can I reduce? And it's something that I cannot show just at the end of the class in the corner of a table. I needed to get them tools for them to be able to grade without having to take classes somewhere else. That's what I came out with. That fourth method that I call Toolfully, because it's my creation. I did the grading all integrated, so it's a full size grading for all sizes that you might need. The first characteristic of the tool is that you're going to see the little drawing of a bodice, but I also did one ruler for each component of the garment, such as the sleeve, the pant, and the skirt. But for today's example, I'm going to show it to you with the bodice, just to continue with the same example. And the little design is just there as a reference so you know on which side to place it on your pattern piece to grade. For example, if you're working on the left side, you just flip your ruler so it's in the same side as your pattern. Just to show you how it works, I will take again the same example that I want to grade my underarm point for one size bigger. So with those rulers, no more need of a square line. You just have to place the basic size right on your trace line. Align one of the ruler line onto your grain line. When it's aligned, you know your grading will be square. So for the same example, I want one size bigger, so I'm just going to point to get the reference on my paper, the size right next to the trace line on the ruler. Go around using the point that you need. For example, if you grade a t-shirt, you don't have darts, so you just skip this one and go to the shoulder and armhole point. Point out the size that you need and go around on all the points to be graded. That's it for today. I hope the video will be helpful. Don't forget, if you want to get those grading ruler, I made them available for you in my Etsy boutique at the name of Toolfully, and I'll put the link right below in the description. Thanks for being there, and I see you next time.